It's also my MVP pick is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I was reading Kirk Goldsberry's piece this morning about how well Giannis has played this season. If he can continue this level of play in the Eastern Conference playoffs, and I know we talk often about how basketball changes, but the way that the game changes in the playoffs is a way that kind of benefits a guy like Giannis. They say it slows down and you play half court. He has led the league in unassisted scoring in the paint. And he also has led the league led the Bucks in assists to three-pointers with 245. So he gets to the lane and finishes. You double him, he gets it out, and they hit the shot. And that's not even to speak about, everyone says the game slows down and becomes defensive. He is pretty much close to Rudy Gobert as far as rim protection is concerned. So if he plays to that level throughout the course of these playoffs, I honestly think they should be their number one seed, so they should be the favorite in the East. So no matter how well anyone else plays, if Giannis plays to that level consistently, I don't think they can be beat. So he's the X-Factor.
My only problem with that, Domonique, is that is almost, I believe everything you just said. I think Giannis's greatness is beyond question, and therefore it's my expectation.
Okay.
Like, I don't think Giannis is an X factor. I think he's a force, and I don't mean to play semantics
I see
here.
what you're saying. No,
what I mean is unless you're Ryan Hollins and you believe that Giannis is going to get exposed, which I believe were his exact words yesterday, that Giannis is going to get exposed. He's not an X factor because he's like gravity. Count on it. It's going to happen. He's going to drive that team through the playoffs. So I don't think he's going to change anything that we expect to happen.
The reason why I argue that he's an X factor is because I don't believe that there's anything that anyone else can do if he plays at that level consistently. I think that it's hard to play at that level throughout the entire playoffs in the NBA. If he's able to do that, do some LeBron-type blackout the whole playoffs and take over type stuff, that's why I think he's an X factor. I think the difference is between Giannis being the Giannis he was all of this season or Giannis falling back to still great, but being like traditional
that's
Giannis
nice
season.
that you really don't know what an X factor is, but that's neither here nor there. And you all know you don't just dunk in athleticism your way through the playoffs. It's a game of skill.
It sure don't hurt.
Well, it ain't everything. And you ain't closing games.
You can run out there with a bunch of skill guys if you want to.
You ain't closing games with it. But the X factor in the Eastern Conference playoffs, hands down, is Ben Simmons. Why? There's enough talent around him. They loaded up with Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, arguably the second best player in the Eastern Conference, third if you want to throw in Kyrie. But nonetheless, if Ben Simmons can be effective and you put the ball in his hands, he's got shooters, he's got scoring, he's got more than enough that he needs around him. Now, he's been extremely ineffective because of his lack of jump shot in the playoffs, but if he can get going and score the basketball, I know the assists are going to be there. The rebounds are going to be there. And then you're going to actually have to start looking at Philadelphia as a favorite to come out. But if not, he becomes stagnant and him and Embiid kind of get in each other's way, and that becomes a problem.
Are we sure that you know what an X factor is? Like that team is so top heavy that I think they could play well and they could get deep in the playoffs without him playing well.
I agree with
that. So it's hard to say that the fortunes of that team are dependent on how well Ben Simmons is. Early in the season, people were talking about maybe they should trade him because he is gumming up the works there. Essentially,
are you kidding me?
They could sit Ben Simmons and still be good.
I don't think Simmons is even the X factor on his own team.
I think Embiid's health is the X factor on his team.
Or D'Angelo Russell.
It's talking about
a lot of people. Simmons is the bottom of the list.
You guys talk about how talented that they are, but you act like the entire Eastern Conference hasn't beefed up. How deep the Celtics are, how Toronto's loaded up. Are you Milwaukee?
We're going to get into this.
No one's disagreeing with any of that.
I want to get into this a little deeper later. We'll talk about whether or not Simmons is, how important he is to the Sixers. But just let me say this.
What do you want to say?
I don't think Simmons is the X factor on his own team. I believe Jimmy Butler is going to change the course of that team one way or the other. I think they have shown they can win without Simmons being a primary force on their team.
They get in each other's way.
With Harris
if he's
and
not
Butler.
effective, he's in the way. And it's a problem. That's the fact.
Can they win without Ben Simmons?
Yeah.
Not in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs. No, not in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead.
I think an X factor is someone whose performance can wildly swing our expectations. That's why I can't pick Giannis. That's why I can't pick Ben Simmons. I think the fortunes of those two teams seem fairly certain because those two guys' performances, I think, are fairly certain. I think the Sixers win with a much improved Ben Simmons or the same Ben Simmons we're seeing. The wild swing guy to me is Kyrie Irving. And you talked up Kyrie yesterday, Ryan, and I respect Kyrie's game, especially playoff Kyrie. But here's the thing. This team, we know from a year ago, could win without Kyrie. The way they played, the way they were coached, the way they shared the ball, the way they played defense. This year has been much more of a yo-yo effect. It's been, how do we integrate Kyrie? How do we all play together? Will they be a team driven by a guy who has a playoff reputation of success, or will they be the team that they were a year ago? Will they trade it back and forth? Will Jaylen Brown be able to step in for Marcus Smart and play with Kyrie? Will Kyrie take over in the last minute of games? These are all questions that I think he is the X factor for. If it works, if Kyrie's the guy who was with the Cavs, hold on, if it works, the Celtics' future and their ceiling is incredibly high. But I don't know that it will work. But so Kyrie's an X factor.
I think Kyrie falls into that category of you know what you're going to get. Like, he was leading the league in clutch numbers. We know he's going to be clutch at the end of games. And we've seen him hit some of the biggest shots in NBA history. So I don't think by your own definition, we know that Kyrie will be Kyrie. So you're saying,
we don't know if that will work for the Celtics.
That's fair. But your own definition said that someone exceeds their expectations. Kyrie's expectations is not going to change, right?
We know what Kyrie's going to be. What I'm saying is, however this guy's performance goes, dictates the outcome for their team.
I don't think that it does. Kyrie's performance is going to be fine. I think everyone else around Kyrie is what matters. We don't have to worry about Kyrie scoring or Kyrie finishing games.
Agreed, but the problem for the Celtics this season hasn't been whether or not Kyrie scores. It's how that all works around him.
Exactly. So then he's not an X factor because Kyrie's going to be Kyrie. Everyone around him needs to figure it out. But I don't think, I mean, maybe we're into a semantics, a nonsense argument here.
Free agency probably providing some motivation for him as well.
Yeah, what's Kyrie? Everything about this thing is...
Neither of you are right, though. Everybody expects, other than myself, apparently, that Giannis is going to have these huge playoffs. He had an amazing regular season. We're not doubting that. We've seen Kyrie in the playoffs. We've seen him hit that dagger over Klay Thompson on the right side of the floor.
All right, we haven't seen him in a Celtics uniform. We haven't seen him wearing green.
So you think that the green is going to, like, blur his vision or something?
Yeah. That's a cute way of saying we haven't seen him play with these players.
Are the expectations not there? Have we seen it before?
I mean, throughout the season, I guess he hit a bunch of clutch shots. He leads the league in clutch points.
Bro, those aren't. My point is, those aren't X factors from you.
Oh, I agree that Kyrie's not, but
those aren't X factors.
Your X factor is a guy who is not even the most important player on the team that might be third on his own team or fourth.